Welcome to the Song, Season 7, Episode 18, where we watch Special Forces World's Toughest Test. I'm Chris Lorenz, and you can call me number 2.
This is Brian. I have a spare tire, but I'm Italian. What do you expect?
Should have turned up in your tracksuit, not your pajamas. This is, what's my name? Max Piazza.
Good one. If this is your first time listening, watch a different reality show each week, discuss it in minute detail, figure out if it's good or bad. And last week we watched, what was that hot garbage? Play-Doh Squished on Freevee. And do not watch that show. You guys voted bottom third. We all thought it was bottom third. Do not. Unless you're 5, then you can watch it. Then that's fine. Brian, what show did we watch this week?
This week we watched Special Forces World's Toughest Test. Selection for the Special Forces is a test unlike any other. Celebrities from all genres take on and try to survive demanding training exercises led by directing staff agents, an elite team of ex-Special Forces operatives. In this unique series, the only way for these recruits to leave is to give up on their own accord, through failure or potential injury, or by force from the agents. Viewers see the recruits face the harshest of environments that simulate the highly classified selection process, pushing themselves in the ultimate test of their physical, mental, and emotional resilience and revealing the celebrity's deepest and truest character. And you can find that on Fox or on Hulu.
Or Fox on Hulu.
Yes.
Thank you, Brian. Yes, this is an interesting show. It's celebrity based, which instantly turns me off a bit.
Yeah,
most of these people are not equipped to be special forces.
Yeah, no, I don't think none of them are.
I don't think this show makes as much sense.
I think it makes way more sense with regular people that are 30 something, always thought they could be in the special forces, then take them through this grilling thing, and you get to see them grit it out. And instead, you're taking these celebrities on some sort of therapy session. And it's a completely different show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it's 16 celebrities come out and they've all signed up to do this special forces, boot camp. It's almost like a CEO boot camp is what I would call it. It's therapy session. They got, people telling them to do grueling tasks and they're saying, push through, you can do it. And that's not what I would call special forces training. If you can't do it, you gone. And there's certainly things you can't do. Like if you can't do it, you're gone. Even if you try hard enough, right? That's not what special forces training is. This special forces training is therapy. You can do it. We're gonna push you through, push you to your best. That's kind of a different thing. But it's pretty intense though.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of that stuff made people puke. There was so much puke.
I do have some background on the show that I think we should just dive into real quick. Sure. This is a spin-off of a British show called SAS, Who Dares Wins. SAS being the British Special Forces. I think all 4 of the instructors are from that show. And they had 7 civilian seasons and 4 celebrity seasons.
Okay.
So now you know.
So was that other show we watched? What was that British show we watched?
That was Britain's Special Forces or something. That was different. That was BBC. That was good.
That was good. If you want something like this but learn how people actually trained, go watch the British Special Forces show and then listen to our podcast about it.
But also it was World War II, and this is
yeah, I mean, it was 80 years ago how they trained instead of today, but I think you get a better sense of how it works. Anyway, so they go to Jordan in the desert. They have 10-day boot camp here, and we're watching these 16 celebrities do this boot camp. And the boot camp is set up by Rudy, Remy, Jason Fox, and Billy Billingham.
Funny name.
Yeah. Which are all ex-Special Forces, from the UK and the US Marines and stuff like that. I didn't write down, they told you. But then there's some other guy named Foxy, and all he does is he's the narrator.
Yep.
Yeah. It does an okay job at it.
I mean, the show definitely needs a narrator, and I wish they, the tone of the show is rarely deliberate, but I could have used some more humor. Like you need Foxy, and then you need like the color commentary guy. Not
you need some comedic effect, and it's just way too serious. And the first episode is 2 fucking hours.
You know what I was kind of surprised about? All the instructors, they should be like coming up with like some really witty things to like roast people. And
they've been doing this for years. They can recycle like 12 seasons of jokes they've done already. What are they doing? They're really not
maybe
giving it their
just
all.
Got cut because they're so bad.
Anything's possible.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. They like, the heckling is pretty limited. And I think that's also the celebrity portion of this is like these people sign up to be on the show to like get good PR. They don't want bad PR. They don't want their next silly nickname to come from the show. So like, whereas like regular people would sign up for this show and you could call them whatever the fuck you want. But you can't call Dr. Drew like right-headed idiot or like Trump's baby. Like you just can't do that on television.
Is Dr. Drew another Dr. Oz type?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, I mean, he's not as deep as Dr. Oz, but he's definitely on the right side of the spectrum. Or you could look at that, Max. But.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
I don't care.
You can't be roasting them like that, but you still gotta like push them and like do stuff.
Like we'll get to like the people that get eliminated, but each one that got eliminated was like they got kind of eliminated on an upbeat note, or just like off screen, which we'll have to talk about that person.
Oh,
but
God.
like, it was always like, oh, you did your best, and like, good luck out there. It wasn't like you suck, get out of my face, like, which is what you want. Like that's what I want to watch.
Totally.
I don't want to watch like the actor that played Hunky Dory come in and like not be able to walk up steps and like make it seem like it's a giant sob story. They can't walk up fucking steps. Like I don't care. Like get in his face. Be entertaining.
Like there should have been a bare bar you have to cross to get signed up for the show, and they didn't do that. And lots of people go home in episode 1, apparently.
Well, I feel for the producers here because they really want to get people that to watch the show. So they picked people that have like an audience and not necessarily people that have any chance of completing a day in this test. So let's just go over the people and, whatever. You could say anything you want. Don't say anything. We got Jamie Lynn Spears, Britney Spears' sister. She was in Zoe 101. Actor. Then we got Nastia Liukin. She's a 5-time Olympic medalist. That's the kind of people you want. I was with these sports like people, right? We got Kate Gosselin. She's the star of Kate +8.
Also, John and Kate +8.
It just says the Kate +8 on.
Right. No, and then she and John got divorced, and then the show got renamed Kate +8.
Yeah.
Oh.
Spoiler alert, she should not be on the show.
Yes.
Beverly Mitchell, she's the actress from Seventh Heaven. Then we got Danny Amendola. She's an NFL player. We got Dwight Howard, NBA champion. Kanye Moore, the famous for the
Kenya, not Kanye.
Oh, Kenya? Sorry.
Yes.
I can't read. I don't know who this person is.
She is a Real Housewives of Atlanta star.
Okay. We got Mike Piazza, MLB, former baseball player.
Hall of Famer.
That's not what mine thing says. We got Dr. Drew. He's like some sort of Dr. Oz. Like
For reality shows.
He's like a reality show kind of like celebrity bullshit kind of guy.
Some sort of Ryan Seacrest character.
We've got Montel Jordan. He's known for the hit song. What is it, Brian?
This is how we do it.
We got Carrie Lloyd. She's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist in soccer. We got Gus Kenworthy, professional skier. It looks like.
Was this guy in the show at all?
No, they did not showcase a lot of people.
Half of these guys, I'm like, who the fuck is that?
There were a lot of people.
I mean, do you really want to introduce 16 people?
No, but
So I can't complain that these people aren't in the show. But
have we talked about the mooch?
I got 3. There's 3 more. We got Tyler
Okay.
Florence. He's the host of the Great Food Truck Race and Food Court Wars. And we got Hannah Brown, best known for being in The Bachelorette.
Wild how she's just expanded from that one season.
And then we got Mel B. Finally, she is the Spice Girls alum.
She is a scary Spice. She was also in The Circle, season 17 or whatever.
Wait, there was a Spice Girl on The Circle, Brian?
Yeah, so
There were 2.
Yeah. So at some point they started introducing like celebrities into it, and it's like they come in maybe like 3 or 4 episodes in, and they're gonna be catfish.
Yeah, I do think that first season of The Circle is just like the casting is so on fleek.
Lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, you'll never recreate that.
Well,
Yeah.
Chris, the kids are not saying on fleek anymore. That's over.
That's
That's
over?
gone. Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Just because
Sorry,
the old people started saying it like me?
it's done.
I don't know about that. See, they just told you it was done, so you would stop saying it. So
Now they're saying stuff is chuggy, and even that is running out of steam.
What about Gucci?
Don't get me started. We may know somebody who uses that word a lot.
Okay. All right. So those are the people. I don't think I have any affection for a single fucking person on this show. I think the only person that I was like, oh, Dr. Drew's on this show because I wanted to see the old man try and do this. And we'll get into what happens to the old man.
I get an affinity for Hannah Brown, but that's just because I watched that season of The Bachelorette.
That's why they get these people from those shows. God damn it, Brian. You're the problem.
This
You're
is the
the
only
problem.
person. This is the only person that they've done this for.
You're the problem.
I don't know.
It's weird to
anybody
say.
else.
It's weird to say I have any like affection for them, but I got so much entertainment out of Anthony Scaramucci's 11 days as White House Communications Director. I thought that was a really fun period of the otherwise awful Trump years.
Oh yeah, they did kind of make fun of that in this show. Did I skip him? I feel like
Maybe.
Possibly.
I think I skipped him. Yeah, Anthony Scaramucci.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely skipped.
You got too excited about Gosling
The
not
mooch.
being on the show.
All right. So here's what happens. They start on a train with bags on their head. That's how the show starts. They're
Well-
really setting the tone of the show right away.
So they're on a train, and then a helicopter like hovers over the train, and the train stops, and the 4 guys hop out, and then they put bags over their heads. Right?
So the bags on the head come after the train. Then they have to,
Some fake terrorist hostage shit.
yeah, it definitely starts out real intense. It starts like you're going to in a movie, right? But it's definitely an intimidation factor for sure.
Sure.
They do this multiple times in the show where they put bags on their head for no reason. Then they have to jog 2 miles in the heat. They have to do this like whole like kind of thing where they dunk themselves in water and get out and get sandy. And then they like get a number. So now they're not names anymore. They're just numbers, which is why I am a number 2.
Nobody listens to number 2.
Who does number 2 work for? Not in the
There's
show.
a lot of dehumanization in this.
Yes.
Just like you got to go in, not seeing anything. Now you're a number.
And then they have to they get uniforms where everyone looks the same now.
Yep.
So that's kind of like the intro of the show. And then they kind of do a lot of like confessionals and bullshit. And anyone have any comments about the opening of the show?
No.
I think it's like, for how intense the show, it's surprisingly boring.
Well, they spend a lot of time in between things, and they don't really need to.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't know. I feel like the challenges also aren't that entertaining to watch. They seem really hard to do, and I see why you do them, but they're not also that entertaining to watch. So that could be it.
They're
I
trying
don't
not
know.
to kill him though.
They're missing something here, but we'll get more into that.
I found the show impossibly boring. I watched it at 2.2x speed. It was
2.2.
Holy.
Wow. Tweet at who put this on to yell at Max about his speeding up of shows.
No.
And you
can
couldn't
you
even
blame
watch
me?
the whole episode, Max?
No.
Spoiler alert, Brian and I watched the whole episode.
Oh my god.
So the first real challenge they have is like, it's unclear if it's later in the day or the next day. Their days are mixed up. But anyway, they have to get into a helicopter, and then they have to like cross their arms on their chest and just fall, like trust fall off the helicopter and land. Like, you have to do like some sort of flip. You can't just like go and like land on your back. You got to like land on your head at the very least.
You got to actually dive, otherwise you were going to get very hurt. And this is a great one to just weed people out. Like, well, get hurt, get wrecked.
Yeah. Did I miss? Did somebody already get kicked out, or was that later?
No. Well, so Kate Gosselin went out because she hurt her neck during this.
Yeah, that's right. So like, I was messaging Brian while I was watching this, and I was like, "Oh, Kate's gone." Like there was like, out of like, I don't know, 7 confessionals, like 4 were from Kate already.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, she's gone. Like, they wanted her for her audience, and you knew she wasn't going to make it very far. She was very skittish, but when she had to like, she got hurt, quote unquote, and like had to leave the show, she seemed pretty upset about it. But I thought she didn't want to be there at all, and like was looking for any excuse not to be in that thing.
Maybe she found it. Maybe she took it.
No, this is what I'm saying is they're giving like Kate, like, you did your best, you hurt your neck, see ya, kind of like moment, instead of like letting her just quit.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, that'll be a good uplift. Like,
But yeah, she's on the show maybe a total of like 12 minutes.
Yeah. Then they have to like crawl back to the group once they get off the dock. But a couple people failed because they didn't actually dive. I feel like that's a hard thing to dive from that position.
yeah, absolutely. If you've never done that before, too.
There was something about the form that they had to get right, and it wasn't really made
that's
clear
what we
to
thought.
us, the viewers.
You couldn't land on the back. But like, somebody landed on their back. They said it was incorrect. So Brian and I are just assuming you got to land on your head. But they didn't actually explain why that person failed. They just said they failed.
Do you think special forces are normally doing like synchronized diving?
Who knows? I mean, I believe them that they do some of these challenges during like their training.
Sure. But also like
probably at like, 8 to like 100 times more intense. Like, they're like running like 2 miles, or they're jogging / walking 2 miles. You're in the special forces, you're going like 30 miles. And then in that process, you might be crossing like a crevasse, or like at some point you'll have helicopter training. You're like, this is how you fall out of a helicopter. Go, 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 go. And it's like, you have 0 seconds to question jumping out of the helicopter. Like stuff like that. Like, they're not like, hey, stand here, hold your chest. Okay, you ready? That is not happening. Like, it's a jump kind of situation.
This challenge, I don't know about you guys, I found it unbelievably boring. There was also a helicopter challenge on the challenge this week that was so much better than this. Like, just apples and oranges. Like, Kate Gosselin, she jumped like maybe 5 feet out of the helicopter into the water. It was not like, whoa, they're doing cool special forces shit.
Yeah, I also, part of me wants to say that it's because of the celebrity status that like you can't do like the most extreme stuff. And part of me also kind of says, yeah, these drills are already pretty freaking extreme, and people are going to have to go through them, and this is just it. It's kind of boring.
Yeah, I think that the thing here is they're trying to turn this CEO bootcamp thing into a show. And they're not trying to make a show for us to watch. And like
Yeah.
the challenge is trying to make a show where there's fun challenges where people compete against each other. There's no competing in the show. There's just you're gonna do it, you're not gonna do it. And that inherently is not nearly as exciting as like a challenge. And then the challenges aren't designed for you to watch on TV. They're like, I mean, they might not do this off a helicopter. I don't know. It seems kind of expensive, but like, that's not inherently like that entertaining of a challenge. And it's not designed to be entertaining. It's designed to be part of their shitty training.
Shtick. Yeah. I do think it's interesting that you bring up that you're right. There is no competition. There's no, vote at the end of the episode. There's no, the weakest person leaves. It's just, sometimes you're out. Maybe you get hurt. Maybe you don't do the thing right.
There's a lot of people that got hurt, quote unquote, this episode.
Yep.
But yeah, it's definitely like a different tone than most shows. Most shows is like try to kick people out.
Yeah, this is just survive.
But I think I saw that you can get voted out kind of if you just fail too many times. But I don't know.
You reading spoilers on Wikipedia?
It was like in the show description. I was kind of surprised by that. Like, I thought that you couldn't really get voted out, but in this case, like, none of them were voted out anyway. But yeah, they talked about how you can get voted out if they don't trust you enough. Like, your whole goal at the end is to have them trust you, like, to go on a mission with them.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the next part. So the next part is them just going actually to base camp, where you find out they have to like sleep in the same room. They're all just kind of in this big room with like the toilets in the middle, with like they're like you could see people going to the bathroom and stuff. And like that I thought was a bit interesting for a celebrity based show. Like I'm surprised that they would put them in like this, but it's part of the dehumanization, I think, and like get them to be a cohesive group part of the whole thing.
Sure.
There's no private space.
Is the whole pooping together thing really going to build that up?
There's no private space, Brian.
Don't knock until you try it.
You just can't go sit in the bathroom stall for 5 minutes.
No.
On TikTok. Like, that's not what's happening. You have to be surrounded by people at all times. See if they're trustworthy. You have to be the elf on the shelf for everybody.
That's fair. Yeah, and then if you see anything, you got to go report it, even when you're pooping.
Yeah, if you got to watch them poop. Make sure they're not on TikTok too long. All right. So after that, there's like it's like the next day or no. At night, they do what they called a bee sting, where they woke them all up and they called some sort of spot check.
Oh, no. So first, Dr. Drew complains that he's what we find out to be dehydrated. So they do a spot check on everybody's water bottle. Is this correct?
Yeah, that is. I think that's the correct order of operations.
Yeah.
Seemed like it was in the middle of the night when they did it, but
it was
unclear.
It was.
But then Dr. Drew is conveniently dehydrated, and water is not fixing his problem. So he gets to leave.
Yeah, I mean, I totally believe that. Like, they were probably already dehydrated, and then Dr. Drew, I don't think he was ever going to drink enough water. Like,
water is for poor people. I need that Gatorade. I need that IV. Sir, if we give you an IV, you get kicked off the show. All right, let's do it. Again, it's all like very positive. Dr. Drew got severely dehydrated and is not medically able to continue the show. And he's gone.
So convenient.
Because that would ever happen. If you got kicked out of the special forces because you got too dehydrated and couldn't drink water, couldn't get yourself hydrated without an IV.
I mean,
I don't know.
Chris, he couldn't have known he was dehydrated. He's not a doctor. Oh,
That's fair. That's fair. I don't know if he's a medical doctor, but
I think he technically is. Let's find out.
yeah, go to the internet corner for us. All right, so Dr. Drew gone. We got rid of the other woman too. She's gone. 2 people down to 14 people. Spoiler alert: that's not all the people that get kicked off today.
Okay. He does have an MD, but not a
So-
PhD.
Maybe that's how we knew he couldn't do any of this. He's like, oh, I can't do another day in the desert. I gotta get out of here. Anyway, so they do the spot check thing where they have to keep a water bottle full, and half the crew didn't have their water bottles full while they were sleeping. So they had to pour out their water bottle on the other people and do some sort of grueling exercise course.
Oh. That's also like, how do you not keep your water bottle filled when it's just like 100 degrees outside?
In the middle of the night, it's like, unless you had like, oh, right before I went to bed, I took some and I'll fill it up in the morning.
Yeah. Actually,
I
I
mean,
realized that.
This test was bullshit. One person asked, like, does 1 sip count? And they're like, yeah, that counts as not full.
It's like, I took
Oh.
a sip on my way out here. Like, so I can't drink out of this, is what you're telling me. Yeah, you can only drink out of wherever they get the water.
Maybe that does make sense where it's like, oh, there's an emergency, like we all got to get out, and like you will not have time to refill that canteen, but if you have it like filled at all times, you're ready. Okay, maybe.
No, I mean, it's definitely like, I'm sure it's like military doctrine, you know? You have to have a water bottle on you that's full. And if you're drinking around, you can't just drink randomly anymore.
Yep.
You got to drink at the water fountain, fill up your water bottle, and then walk away. If you're at camp.
Oh, before we move on, maybe we should briefly touch on Jamie Lynn Spears and Sob Story.
Who's that?
Britney Spears' sister, whose daughter.
She's away from her kids. Oh, well, she's really sad at first because she's away from her kids. And then she tells this story later. Max, what is it?
Basically, her daughter was drowning in a lake and she wasn't able to do anything. Unfortunately, somebody else was able to go save her daughter. But anyway, the diving into the ocean from the plane or from the helicopter freaked her out for this reason, apparently. As far as reality show sob stories go, it's a pretty okay one.
Yeah, I agree. That's definitely, it's not a story I necessarily really cared that much about, but she definitely made it seem like her daughter died. And then I was like, oh, wait. At the end, they're like, oh, he was fine now. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
That was a weird way to tell that story. But
Yep.
okay. I think that was that the only real sob story? They tried to make a kind of sob story with the NBA player. Like, why do people hate you? Oh, I had to do all this stuff as an NBA player and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, that didn't work.
That did not go over at all, producers, just to let you know. So then after this, a lot of people had a really hard time with this exercise course. And it looked pretty hard. They're like going through mud. I definitely couldn't be on the show right now.
No. And the last time you want to do that is when you were just woken up in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. This is the show. The show's real overarching tone here is intensity. They want you to watch it because it's intense. And presumably you want to watch it because it's intense. After this, like, they have the next day. So it's go to the next day. And they have to go on another challenge. I guess once they get there, they have to organize themselves from strongest to weakest.
They did that before they left. They did that like in the morning.
That's fine, Brian.
Yeah.
No one cares about the minutia of the minutia.
But yeah, that was a weird way to like just, I got to rank myself. Why?
So then this is a big storyline throughout this episode where the NBA player thought he was number 1. And who thought they were last? The 7th Heaven Star?
Yeah, Beverly Mitchell.
Beverly Mitchell thought she was last. So then there was this whole thing where they have to do this next challenge where they have to traverse a 300-foot ravine on like 2 ropes with like hands on one, feet on the other. And you're like, you're sidewalking across the whole thing. It seemed pretty intense, but the the people said they all can do it, and I was like, can they? I don't think everyone in this group can do this. Like, even when the guy was doing it, was like, the lactic acid buildup, you just got to go through it. And I'm just like, you're having to deal with lactic acid buildup? Can you imagine some of these people? Like, you think Dr. Drew could do this? He was already out at this point, but like,
No way.
it's just not, it's just like, sure, maybe, with some more intense training.
Dig deep, Chris. Dig deep.
And then Dwight Howard, the NBA player, failed like not too far into it, but he went first. So he really set the tone for the day. Like, he can't even do it. How can I do it?
Right.
And then we find out that Seventh Heaven Star Beverly makes it further than he did. And then 2 people made it all the way.
Damn.
Nastia and Danny completed the challenge.
It's really difficult.
No,
it's wild. Wild. I already forgot who those 2 people are.
I don't think they were really introduced in this episode.
Okay.
No.
They didn't really have a storyline. Like, the storyline were like the 4 people that got kicked off, and like this storyline about the strongest and weakest. Those were really the only people introduced really in the show. Then they brought in Dwight Howard for questioning. This is where they put the blindfolds on him again. And like, they're outside the building, they put the blindfold on and then take him in the building. So you don't know where you are in the building. It's just an intimidation factor. And they were like, what happened? I thought you were the best. And then he's like, I don't know, man. I tried. And then they were like, why does everyone hate you?
Oh my God.
and he's like, I just had to do what I had to do to win in the fucking NBA. Leave me alone. And that was kind of interesting. I thought that would have been the most entertaining part of the show for me, is this questioning.
It was so silly. I don't know why they did this.
Because it's intense, Brian. This whole thing is intense.
Intense. Get it. Dig deep, Dwight.
That's the whole part. So then the next day, is it
no, they go at night. They go like several hours later.
Yeah, it's not at night. So they have to do some sort of combat task. So they have to like run, and they get into this. They fight Rudy in like a giant, like, what kind of armor would you call this?
It's just like foam suit armor, like specialty that like you can wail on it, and like the person inside.
It's almost like if you're a dog suit, like getting you kind of suit.
Yeah.
So they have to run into this. They have to fight they have to fight Rudy until the one guy says stop, and they're supposed to stop right away and let all their anger go. So everyone does this. Some people do it better than others, but it's edited really weird that you don't really know what's going on. And then Montel Jordan apparently breaks his hand during this and is gone.
That is not how you do it.
That is not how you do it. What's that show we watched where like so many people got injuries? Is it the one that's the worst one ever? The primitive versus modern?
I don't think there
was some show we watched where like
people definitely got hurt on that show for sure. I don't remember. Oh, and we skipped over Tyler Florence quits.
Oh yeah, he's just like, I don't want to get hurt for my wife's birthday. Like, okay, cool.
Oh yeah, that was during the last challenge. He quit. He didn't even do that challenge.
Like, okay, dude, you had to know like you're coming on. Like, you just bail on it. Bail.
Well, that's like producer's fault, really. If somebody doesn't do the first real challenge, that's on you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care who it is. But he's probably on here to get some sort of audience. So that's there's 4 people out on the first day. You got 3 people quote unquote injured.
And then you got Dr. Drew.
Dr. Drew is one of the injured people, Brian,
Okay.
Yep.
and one person quits. Although I think the only person that really was hurt was Montel Jordan.
Maybe, yeah. Like,
His hand definitely looked kind of broken.
yeah.
So how
and
many
then-
people are left after this?
12.
Like-
There's 12 people.
Okay. Rough.
That was just a weird way to get rid of Montel. It's just like next deliberation by the sergeants. They're just like, well, he's out.
Like he's barely in the show. He's like he's barely in it. And then they show him, he like comes to the ground, and then afterwards like, well, I think my hand's broken, and they show him with some ice, and then they keep going, and then the narrator's like, oh, Montel Williams is out with a broken hand. Like we don't even see him leave. I was
Yeah.
like, what's going on? What? He's like unceremoniously kicked off the show. No pomp, no ceremony.
Rough day.
And then they continue this Beverly storyline where she gets questioned with the Black Hood and everything. And they're like, do you think you're the weakest? No. So then they like do the lineup from strongest to weakest again. And everyone rearranges to where they are. She puts herself more towards the middle, and so does the NBA player, whatever his name is.
Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard goes further in. He doesn't think he's the strongest anymore. And now we've learned our lessons, Brian.
Yay.
And then we wasted 2 hours of our life. Well, really
Some of
only
us.
an hour, 20 minutes.
Yeah, Max got it done in like 40.
Max didn't watch the whole episode.
Oh, that's
I
right.
did what I agreed to.
I feel like you won on this. Like you got the 2x speed. You didn't like you boiled this down to like 10 minutes basically.
Excuse me. 20 something, but yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? Every minute was a struggle. The show was so slow, so boring.
See, that's why we need to watch these shows together, Max, so we can make fun of it.
It's
I
true.
miss that.
You're not wrong.
Like,
I mean,
the show
Lord
is
knows-
like way better with somebody than it is by yourself.
I'm down. We can experiment with that next week.
All right.
All right, so that's kind of the show.
Yeah, we got to get into minutia though.
W-
Or sorry, like minutia or like questions.
questions. I was like, you have more minutia, Brian?
No.
I was like, how do you have more minutia? All right, so let's do some questions. Who's the worst human being on this show?
Probably Drew Pinsky.
Yeah.
Drew Pinsky?
Dr. Drew, baby.
Oh, that's his last name. Okay, that's his real name. It's hard to tell between him or the guy who quits.
Oh, Tyler Florence.
Like
Eh.
the edit, definitely Dr. Drew comes off worse because he's in the edit, whereas the other guy's not in the edit, really.
Yeah.
So, but he does quit on a show, you know.
All about not quitting. Maybe he just wanted a free trip to Jordan.
All right, so I'm gonna vote for the guy that quit.
That's fair.
What is your votes? Your vote, Max. Your vote is for
Yeah, I don't know who Tyler is, so I'm sticking with Dr. Drew.
Dr. Drew.
yeah. I mean, if we're including outside the show, I don't know a whole lot about everyone, but except for Dr. Drew, and he would definitely be on the list.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that. Is this
Well, what if Jamie Lynn Spears is like responsible for the whole Britney Spears shit she was dealing
yeah?
with?
But we don't know. I don't know.
Okay,
You don't know. We're not. I'm not trying to make assumptions about people I don't know.
sure. You're saying in the canon of the show, who's the worst?
Yeah, and I'm saying that if like I don't, as I said, I don't know a lot about anyone else, but I do know a little
Right.
bit about Dr. Drew, and he would definitely be
Okay.
a person I would not. I think is
Yeah.
not great. I don't think there's anything to say about this host. We don't know anything about him. Moving
Is
on.
this their apex?
Maybe because I've heard of him. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. I didn't really look anything about them. Let's do drinking rules because I feel like I need some. Brian, give me a drinking rule.
Drink every time you see somebody poop.
Anyone in the stalls?
Yeah.
That's a good one. I mean, you should drink when anyone struggles.
Oh man,
Like when they're like, oh, when you hear that,
you're gonna be struggling.
you need it. If there's one show you need it for, it's this one.
True.
Max?
Every time somebody gets hurt, make a small sort of paper cut size incision somewhere on your body and pour whiskey all over it, and then drink the rest.
I'm surprised you didn't say your eyeball.
Oh.
I'm not that creative.
I don't think you should pour whiskey in your eyeball, by the way.
No, don't advise our listeners to do stupid stuff.
Chris, you ever seen Un Chien Andalou?
No, never. I don't know what that is.
It's a silent film by Dali where he like cuts open an eye. I don't think it's real, but freaks people out.
I'm not gonna watch that. Okay.
Yeah.
Brian, you have another drinking rule that is fun.
Finish your drink every time somebody goes to the interrogation room.
Finish your drink. That's pretty strong. I mean, drink a lot.
All right, fine.
I think you should take a shot for any time anyone leaves the house.
Yep, that's a good one. I have a feeling at this rate, we're just going to go 3 episodes.
I mean, it hits you early, but towards the end, I'm sure it doesn't hit you that much.
It's true. People are going to be beaten up to hell, though.
Yeah, I think as a last one, I think anytime you think somebody did an amazing job, you should cheers them and take a drink.
Okay, a positive one.
Yeah.
I have an anti-drinking rule. Every time somebody does something funny, take a nice like beer, 12 ounces of beer worth of whiskey. But that's never going to happen.
Okay. All right. Would the show be better as a Quibi or a TikTok?
Yes.
100%.
Yeah, I think in 120 minutes, or not 120, an hour and 20 minutes is way too long. There's just like the challenges aren't exciting enough, but they would be exciting enough in like a 3 to 7 minute length, I think.
Yeah.
There's too many people, but maybe you could do like 16 episodes and each one about a different contestant as they like do the challenge.
Are you trying to do like a Rashomon TikTok?
No, I'm not trying to do 16 different angles of the same challenge. I think it's more like a Seven Samurai. Who of the 16 people can we whittle down to save our village through these special challenges? Who's gonna hook up next?
Ooh. Han's going to hook up with Dwight Howard.
I don't know.
I don't think anybody's hooking up. This is all gross.
I think Foxy and Billy Billingham.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, I like Billy as our, who's gonna hook up. And maybe he'll hook up with like Nastia.
Anything's possible.
Or did Kate already hook up with her? Hook up with him?
So if she's a real housewife, that implies she's married. Not that you can't do that while you're married, but I don't know.
Yeah,
do you lose your real housewife status if you get divorced?
No, absolutely not.
You made that TV show. You're staying on there.
That's what they want. Just like when what's that 16 and pregnant show became?
Teen Mom 2.
Teen Mom and Teen Mom 2. They're like 50 years old.
I know.
They're still on the show. Yeah. Show called Teen Mom.
Yeah,
He's like, I used to be a teen mom, but the show started when they were teen moms.
I feel like Octomom could have been on the show.
Yeah. All right. I feel like this one's going to be difficult, especially for Max. So I'm going to do Max last. What do you love about the show, Brian?
I actually like that people are trying to overcome some of their own like personal challenges. I know that this is all like advertising and stuff where it's like, yeah, like I'm a human being too, not just a celebrity, but I think it's still inspirational.
So you bring up an interesting point that this is an advertisement, and I
Yeah.
do think it's more of an advertisement for the military than
I-
it is for anything else.
It's for both for sure. Like it's a military circle jerk, and then you got each celebrity is going through their own stuff and finding themselves.
I mean, the military loves a circle jerk for sure.
In all definitions.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm obviously usually don't like to watch super pro military stuff. I'm not sure this is this is just there's the military. I don't know if it's like this is great military kind of advertisement.
There
But
was
anyway.
some other show we watched that was like, I think, Marines focused. Do you remember this? There were like two teams and they had to build a tent.
I remember that show. I don't remember the name.
Yeah. That felt a lot more oorah, military industrial complex rules shit.
Yeah, I mean this is in Georgia, not in the United States.
This is in Jordan, not Georgia.
Sorry. That's what I meant to say. So it's not really all. I don't think it's like being funded by the U.S. government, which is you get a lot more oorah. I think with those kind of shows, at least to a point. Who knows? They could be minorly funding it, but they're not giving it like equipment or anything.
But this is definitely like going to inspire people to push for a civilian one, where then people are gonna be like, "Yo, I can run that course, Ninja Warrior
I
style.
don't think you ever go from celebrity to civilian. It never goes that way.
So wait, Max, do you remember if the British one actually stays celebrity, or do they go back and forth between civilian and
They
celebrity?
do 2 seasons every year. Well, okay. They started off with 3 years of just civilians. Then the last 4 years, they've had 1 civilian, 1 celebrity every year. Season, that is.
Okay. I mean, they do have a Big Brother and a Celebrity Big Brother, right?
Yeah.
Do they still do Celebrity Big Brother?
I'm sure in some country, yes.
I forgot all about Big Brother anyway.
I
I know it's still really big. I
still think it's really hard for a show to go like back from celebrities.
Yeah, but I think that I think they're trying to break into a new market with celebrities. So now people will be interested in it, and then they can bring in the civilian one. Because like there's other shows that just failed.
Well, Celebrity Big Brother is still a thing, apparently.
Great.
It was canceled for a little bit, but on September 9th, 2021, they announced it for winter 2022. So what's up with that,
It did air in 2022.
Oh, crazy.
Anyway, what do I love about the show? I love that they stuck with the tone. Like, this is the tone of the show, and they dig deep. Like, this is what the show is about. Like, it's not about special forces. It's about this tone of like aggressive, be all you can be, hoorah. Like, that's the show. And as we said, we wanted some comedy, but they've chosen their tone and they've really sticking it in there, and I applaud them for it. And I think there is a way to get this to work, but obviously, I think it has some shortcomings. Max, have you thought about what you love about the show?
No.
And that it's over.
Give you so much time. We had so many tangents.
Well, no, I just have nothing. I didn't really like anything about the show.
You didn't love like
you know what?
Sister?
I liked being reminded of that Montel song. This is how we do it.
That's so good.
You also said you liked being reminded about the White House, Trump White House, or like that was the best thing. About
the mooch, yeah. Yeah, if that's the best I can say. The show sucks.
I think that, on the celebrity picking, I think they did a really good job mostly. Like, there's some of these shows where they call them celebrities. They're like barely X-list celebrities. Whereas like you got some pretty big people here. You got like NBA champions, you got like really famous NFL players. So you get real sports people going on here. And for like a challenge like this, sports makes sense.
100%. And it's following the train of like Masked Singer, where like, oh, you get the celebrities, yeah.
It's also kind of like kind of get the weak people out first,
Yep.
which is probably always expected. All right, so we do our last question where we do a stack ranking between top, middle, bottom, third. Brian, what do you got?
Gotta be middle of the bottom. Like, it was so long and so drawn out. I can't watch another episode of this.
I think we know what Max's is, but I
You might be surprised. I'm going to say this is a bottom third, middle of the bottom. Why it is not as bad as Play-Doh Squished.
We've had a bad sequence lately. I really wanted to put this in the middle third because, like, I love the tone. Tone gets to me so often, but like, it was pretty boring. Could be like the challenges weren't entertaining enough. Like, there needs to be like a red team versus a blue team, and you could still have like push for it, but at least like, you know, you have a team to push for and a team for us to root for. You know, celebrities just, I don't like it. I don't like celebrities being on reality shows. I don't like it. Doesn't work ever.
Are we just traumatized from Celebrity Apprentice?
Oh man, the Mooch is also on Celebrity Big Brother.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we watch Taskmaster and they have celebrities, right?
Yeah, but it's
But
But they're professional funny people doing hired to be funny.
I know. I'm just trying to feel it out in my head, like what is so wrong with celebrity reality shows. And I think the biggest problem with the show is like the PC nature of the show because of the celebrities. Like, there's no way these people would just let you quit so easily. Like, if it was regular people, and you know, that's just really does a disservice for this show, like as a whole. Like, you can't, like, you can have the tone of being really serious, and you could call somebody a butt munch or something, and like that's funny, but you're still keeping the tone of the show.
Yep.
And you know, and that's what the show really needs. Well, it needs to be way shorter, and like speed things up. But they only have 10 days. 10 days is not a lot of time to be out in this thing, so they have to like really push these people. And you know, I'd rather have it be longer and more like same intensity, but we can move faster.
Chris, they're celebrities. They don't have all the time in the world.
I mean, the production has a budget, you know, they do what they do.
Like, listen, Jamie Lynn Spears has important things to get back to, okay?
Her kids.
Oh, yeah, okay, that example. That's
She was the one crying about her kids in this episode. All right. Well, that's it for our discussion, Max, unless you want to cut in.
I was going to make a joke about what's the filming schedule, but we know.
Yeah.
Well, we don't. We don't know when this ends. We don't know if it ends early in 10 days.
We only have one person left. What if they push them until everyone's out?
Yeah.
You're saying everyone's out before 10 days?
Yeah.
It's possible. It's possible. I don't think so, but yeah. So that's it for a discussion. Tell us what you thought about the show on Twitter at Who Put This On of a poll. You can vote top, middle, or bottom third. Anyway, it's been a while. Sorry, guys. I was sick last week, and the week before that, we were all traveling. So we are still here. Tweet at us. Let us know you're listening. Max, you got any shout outs?
Come back to me. Oh, I have one. On Hulu, Fleischman is in Trouble. Very good show.
What is the show about?
Okay, let me give you the quick rundown. It is about who plays Mark Zuckerberg, and his last name is also a Berg. Jesse Eisenberg. Jesse Eisenberg and Claire Danes, they're getting a divorce. Claire Danes drops off the kids with Jesse Eisenberg, and she just disappears. Fleischman is in trouble.
Oh, that does sound. I've heard it was good, and I've been like trying to find a show to actually watch. So maybe I'll watch that.
Would recommends.
Brian,
The Glass Onion movie, pretty good. I've also been continuing to watch dating and related, or dated and related, and that show just gets kind of wild. Like eventually, when they're all like just pairing up.
Oh yeah, this is the show where you go on a dating show with your friend or cousin.
With somebody that's related with you.
Okay.
So like a built-in blood relation wingman.
And how many fights are there?
There's one dude who is just like playing this game like for the money instead of like to bang, and
What?
he's really just like playing with everybody, and everybody's like, no, we got to get you out. Fuck off, Will.
Yeah, you out. Yeah, he's obviously. If you're in it for the money, you still kind of got to be in it to bang.
Yes,
Like
you got to be in it for love.
Okay,
I don't know
guys,
if you could be in it for love.
when are they going to make a show that just rewards people for banging with money?
Yeah, they went the other way on that one.
It's called porn, and you can find a lot on Pornhub.
No, I'm just saying, like, give us the opposite of, Too Hot to Handle.
Is that what we pitch?
It's the opposite of Too Hot to Handle.
No, it's like we pitch this reality show where we have thermal cams watching you bang to make sure you bang, so you get the money. Like the house pot is 0. The quicker you bang, the more people you bang, the more money you get.
For the right channel, give it 10 years, maybe.
I mean, we just put it right on Pornhub. Or, what if you bang the same person, you get more money? So we incentivize the love connection you make with one person.
The problem is, like, then you're just tied with somebody else if you keep going. So, like, you got to branch out.
Yeah, well, maybe that's why we throw in challenges. Like, you can keep your counter for the next challenge. Wow.
Yeah. All right. You're on the ball for this.
CBS, reach out. MTV, we got you. I don't know if I have any shout outs. I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy VII lately, and that game really holds up. I think it's really good. And I think, like, as an overall to my 2022, like, television was so much better than movies last year.
Oh, no comparison.
Yeah. There's like, here I have like a maybe top like 5 movies, and I've got like a top like 10 shows. Like, in terms of like, I've rated 5 shows 5 and 1 movie 5 out of 5. So here are my shout outs for 2022.
Hit me.
Top 5 movies: Avatar 2, Top Gun Maverick, Glass Onion, Barbarian, and let's go with Jackass Forever, because I think that movie was really fun. And then top 10 TV shows, not necessarily in any order, but we got Severance, Better Call Saul, Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, Taskmaster season 14, Stranger Things season 4, Peacemaker, The Dragon Prince season 4, and White Lotus season 2.
That's a big top list.
I think Taskmaster season 13 is in there too. Very good.
Good stuff. We truly live in a golden age of television.
I think we really do. And I'll give a special shout out to the bottom 3 things on my list. So we got Clerks 3, worst movie I saw last year. I think that movie is not good. And the worst, second to last worst television season I watched the whole thing of was Jersey Shore Family Vacation season 5. I kind of like half watched it, and it was not good. Not even good enough to side watch.
Wow.
Which is saying a lot.
Your dedication to the franchise is to be commended.
It's over, Max. I stopped.
Okay.
I stopped.
What about when they're all grandparents 20 years from now?
I don't know. I think I would come back if they would really do what they did the first season of the Family Vacation, where they went to a place, drank a bunch, and had fun, instead of like, we're living our normal lives in Jersey. Like,
yeah, that's not a vacation.
I'm not exactly. That's what the show became. Oh, I also want to shout out Book of Boba Fett and Picard season 1, or the latest seasons of those were also terrible. And then the worst show I saw last year was Search Party season 5. It got a 1 out of 5. It was absolutely awful. Do not watch that.
Still haven't seen it, but I love 1 through 4.
Search Party seasons 1 through 4, worth watching. Very fun. Kind of like they switch genres every like season, and like I think it's pretty strong. Goes kind of all over the place. Season 5 turned into this like anti-tech billionaire thing, and it was written really poorly.
Weird.
And it was awful, absolutely terrible. So there you have it. That's it for us this week. You can find us on Twitter at whowithus.on. You can find us on Facebook.com/whowithus.on. Email us questions, suggestions at whowithus.on@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time. This is how we do it on Friday night, and I feel all right.